Hello everyone, I am Kartik. Today I will be explaining the theory of supply. When the topic supply comes, what do you mean by supply? Supply means nothing but the sum of the goods that a producer is ready to sell at a particular price at a particular place, that is the market. So just like the law of demand, we have a law of supply which states that when all other things are constant, if the price of a good increases, the supply will increase. If the price falls, the supply will also decrease. So with this, we will go to supply schedule. Supply schedule means it shows various quantities of goods that are supplied at various levels of prices in the market. There are two types of supply schedule: individual supply schedule, market supply schedule. Individual supply schedule means it shows various quantities of goods that are supplied by an individual at various levels of prices in the market. Market supply schedule means various quantities of goods that are supplied by all the producers in the market. So when we add up all the individual market schedule, we can get the market supply schedule. So there are some exceptions to this law of supply. So they are rare goods. Rare goods means those goods whose production has been permanently stopped. So in this case, the supply of the rare goods cannot be increased. Only those goods which have been produced can be sold, but the new goods cannot be supplied. Next is supply of labor. In case of labor, when we increase the wages, the number of labor will increase. That is normal. But if we continuously go on increasing the wages, after a certain point, the supply curve will start bending backwards, which means that when at a certain point, the laborers may think that with the increased wages, they want to work less at the same price. So this is an exception. Now, perishable goods. Perishable goods means those goods which have to be used within a period of time. For example, the milk packets which we get every day. So these type of goods have to be used within the day. So these type of goods supply cannot be increased just with the increase in the price. So auction sale. In this case, the price may change. It may increase or decrease, but the supply cannot be changed. Now, future price expectations. To understand this, just think like a producer. If you are a producer and you have got something that you have got to know that the price of your commodity is going to increase in the near future, then what will you do? The producers mostly store or they supply less at the current price, and they store the goods to be supplied in the near future at a higher price to maximize the profits. Next is supply function. Just like demand function, supply function also explains the relationship between the determinants of a supply. Now let us go to the determinants of supply. So similarly, the determinants are various kinds. They are the price of the goods. In this case, the price of the goods determines the supply for a good. So if the price is high, the supply will be more, and if the price is less, the supply will be less. Next is price of related goods. For example, there are two goods. Let us take an example like rice and wheat. When the producers get less profits in case of rice, they may shift to the wheat where they are getting more profits. So like this, the supply for the rice will be less and its price will also fall. Now next is government policy. Let's just think, if the government increases or the imposes taxes on the production of certain goods, then the producers will get discouraged and they will supply less goods of those commodities. So similarly, if a government allows the subsidies on the production of certain goods, then the producers will feel encouraged and they will enhance the supply for those commodities to enjoy the benefits of the subsidies. Next is technology. There are two types of technology: traditional technology and modern technology. Traditional technology cannot give you much profits and cannot give you much supply. But if a producer applies modern technology, he can reduce the time of production, he can increase the inputs to get more supply and to reduce the cost of production, which is the benefit of the modern technology. Next is weather conditions. Weather conditions means these weather conditions also impact the supply for a commodity. For example, for a supply of a commodity, the raw material should be regular. For the raw material being regular, the weather conditions should also be good, which means there should not be any droughts, earthquakes, floods, famines, or other natural calamities just like that. when there are no natural calamities and when there are no problems, the raw material supply is regular and the production will be more and the supply will be more. So next is input price. If the cost of inputs is more, then the cost of production will be more and the price of the commodities will be more. So when the cost of production is less, it increases the profits of the producers. Next is from number of firms in the market, which means that if there are number of producers, means if the number of producers are more in the market, the supply will be more for the particular commodity. This explains or this impacts upon the supply for a commodity. If the number of firms are less, the supply will be less. Next is future price expectations. Just like in the above case, the producers in this case will also think like the same and they will store the goods which will impact upon the supply of a commodity. In that case, the supply will decrease and in the future, the supply will increase. Next is the changes in supply and changes in quantity supplied. If there are changes in the determinants of supply, it will lead to change in supply. So these changes are of two types: extension and contraction, increase and decrease. First, extension and contraction. When all other things are constant, if there is a change in price which leads to change in supply, these type of changes are said to be extension and contraction of supply. If the prices increases, the supply will increase, and if the price decreases, the supply will contract. Okay, so next is increase or decrease of supply. In this case, when the price is constant, there is a change in other determinants of supply which will lead to the change in supply, quantity supplied. So these changes are said to be increase or decrease in supply. Just like in case of demand, we can calculate the measurement or we can calculate the change in the supply by the following methods: point method, arc method, then total expenditure method and percentage method. So now let me show you the supply graph. So here you can see that this is the vertical axis and this is the horizontal axis. So this is the initial price or the starting price for a commodity. Let us assume that the price has increased from P to P1, then the quantity supplied will increase from Q to Q1, as the price of a commodity and the supply for the commodity are directly related. If the price increases, the quantity supplied will increase. Similarly, when the price will decrease, the quantity supplied will also decrease. Just like this, there is a demand graph. Let me show you this. So this is the vertical axis, this is the horizontal axis. This is the price and this is the quantity demanded. Now this is the initial price for the commodity. So this is the demand. When the price for the commodity increases, the demand for the commodity decreases, which is stated by the law of demand. It means the price for the commodity and the demand are inversely related. So with this, I would like to end the video and I thank you all.